Well, hello. Welcome to Elegant Sentiments today. Happy Thursday. I am happy to be here today sharing our weekly card share number 90. And I have some products from Lisa Horton Crafts and also from Pinkfresh Studio. So I've got inks from Lisa Horton Crafts. I've got several of her metallic inks here. I've got pumpkin, rose gold, winter fir, and sunshine. And then for the other products from Pinkfresh Studio, I have one of their new cover plates called Diamond Lattice. That's this one. And then I've got a die and stencil bundle, Bloom of Thanks. So there's two dies here and a three-piece stencil set. And then I used for my mat, the A2 Matting Basics Set B from Spellbinders. This is one of their older sets. So these are the products that I'm going to be using today. And here is the sample that I have created using these products. You can see with the metallic ink, I've got nice little shine on my card. And then I've got my lattice background. And I took a piece of some foil strips and just stuck a few of those on some of the lattice. And there we go, our quick and easy card. So let's go ahead and get started making it. I need let me grab sticky mat here and bring that in. And okay. So I've got my little sticky mat and I'm going to start with my stenciling. So there's three pieces to the stencil, and they so you stencil the letters first, and that's one separate stencil. And then to do all the florals, there are actually two stencils on each of these panels. So there's stencil 1, stencil 2, stencil 3, and stencil 4. So we'll start with our letters. And let me get my scrap of white paper here. Okay. We'll just put that down, and I think I might use a little bit of tape on this. Because I've got a little bit of room, but I just really don't want that stencil moving around too much. And so I'm going to use the two orangier colors for my lettering. I'm going to use rose gold at the bottom, and then at the top I'll use pumpkin. So I'm going to variegate the color on this thanks. And I'll just do all of these letters in rose gold, and then I'll come back in with the pumpkin. I'll do about halfway. And I just want to make sure I get a nice solid coating there, so we'll get the shimmer from these metallic inks showing up. And with these stencils, there's a little diamond there that you want to make sure you ink up, because that tells you where to put your dies, because these are no line dies, and so you use those guides as your markers to make sure you've got your die completely lined up with your stencil. So let's see. I'm trying not to get too much of the rose gold where I want the pumpkin metallic ink to go, but it doesn't matter if you do miss a little bit, because you'll just be inking over it anyway, and you can always go back and kind of fix up. So here's another one of those alignment triangles on this stencil. Really pretty nice. Okay, and then we'll bring in the pumpkin and just come in from the other direction and come all the way down until the two meet. This is a really nice set from Pinkfresh Studio. I think this was in their October release. I think that's when I first saw it. But either way, it's available now. You can get it from Pinkfresh, or you can get it from, I think I saw it on Scrapbook also. And they have Scrapbook has an 11% off sale right now. They usually have some kind of discounted pricing, but they have an extra. Usually it's 10%. Sometimes it's 8%. And I've even seen it every now and again up to 15%. But okay, so I think that is gonna do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just kind of want half of my letters to be that rose gold and the other half pumpkin. And then we're going to die cut this, and the dies put some really nice detail on the letters. I'll show you that when we get the dies going. But that's it for stencil number 1. And then stencil number 2, it is this is the one that starts with the 2 parts. So let me get this pumpkin out of the way. And so the top of the stencil on this one is stencil number, or the bottom is stencil number 2, and the top is, wait a minute, let me see. Hard to read that number. Oh no, okay, so they start the numbers over. So this is 1 and 2. So I'm going to put it down here, and I'm going to mark, I'll put a little mark where the stencil lines up, although I can use the marks on the stencil itself, and I'll show you when I get ready to move that stencil up how you can tell, because they have their little registration marks. There's one here, and when you go to move this stencil up, this will line up. There's another one here and another one here. So these registration marks that are down here, when you move your stencil up, they'll line up pretty nicely for you. So I'm going to do my leaves in winter fir, and I'm going to do my flowers in, I think I'm going to change and add some red to the flowers. On my sample I had all yellow, and I want a little bit more variety in my flowers, so I'm going to be adding in some green, but this some red, but these are all leaves. So I'll just go ahead and stencil these in, color them in with the fur, and I want to make sure that I'm getting those registration marks in. And you can do your leaves solid, or you can vary the color a little bit. I'm just kind of doing whatever the brush ends up doing, not being particularly cautious about how I do these greens, because they're so teeny anyway. And so I'm just coloring them in wherever the ink goes with what I have on my brush is pretty much how I'm going to leave it. And we've got another registration mark there. I want to make sure I get that. And this one. Doing all my leaves in green. This is Winter Fir. It's one of Lisa's newer release of metallic inks. And that's really all we need to do for stencil 1 of the florals. And I'm just going to move it up and line it up with those registration marks. I got my 3 registration marks there. And then I'll do my flowers, and I want to do some, let's see, I want to do, I think, what 3 do I want to be red? Maybe this one and this one on this panel, and on the other panel, well, no, I think I'll do this one. Well, I'm trying to decide here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever I end up, I'll just color them. Don't need to spend too much time. So I'm going to use Crimson Cheer and Sunshine for the flowers. So I'll do a couple of them in Crimson Cheer and a couple of them in the Sunshine. And then I'll alternate the flower centers when I get to that. So if it's a red flower, it's going to have a yellow center. And if it's a yellow flower, it's going to have a red center. Okay, so maybe this one. And then the rest of them I'll do yellow. And this is the Sunshine metallic ink that I'm using here. And somewhere I've got a brush. Here we go. And just coloring those in. Okay, and that's it for stencil 1 and 2. And then we do the same thing with 3 and 4. They're split. And these look, I'll tell you, the stenciling looks really funky when you first do it. But the dies are the magic of these stencils. So this is stencil number 3. So we'll put it down here at the bottom. And we've got our registration marks there to make sure we have it lined up properly. And we'll do this one in the Sunshine, and then everything else on this stencil, I think I'm going to do it in the Crimson Cheer. So we'll find out if I'm making a mistake here when we're all done. But it should be okay. Either way, like I say, it's only paper. You can always redo it if you hate it. But it should be okay. And I think I'm just going to make this just a little bit deeper red for this one. More Crimson Cheer there. And then we move up stencil 4, and we do one more flower and some flower centers. So we move it up and find our registration mark again. It's really really hard to mess this up. And so, oops, nope, don't want to do that. Don't want the red in my crimson ink. I think I'll do this one, this color, the sunshine. And then for flower centers, for this one, for sure, I want it to be in the other two, since I have two different colors on the flower, it doesn't really matter. So we'll go with the crimson. Okay. And that really is all the inking that we need to do, really quick. And then what's really nice, and you look at these flowers and you think, what in the world? But watch what happens when we die cut it. It just, the dies are really what makes the difference for this set, because all of the stenciling is really very bland, and then the dies are what add all the detail. So we've got two different dies here for our two pieces. And we'll start with the thanks. And we'll put that in like that. And I'm going to take this down because I don't want it moving around on me. But those registration marks, you can see them. And just make sure it's lined up as good as you can get it, and you'll have your die cut letters without the white border. So here we go. I've just got a Platinum 6 over here off to the side that I'm going to use to die cut these, using the regular sandwich for die cuts. And then we'll pull this out and you can see the detail that it puts on, let's see, on these letters. Oh, I was like, where's my T and my S? They're still on my plate. So there, and I don't know if you can see that detail, but there's lines on. Oh, let me show you the sample. It's easier probably to see. Maybe if I can hold it just right. There's all that. There's a lot of detail right in here on the letters, and it really looks very nice in person. And it takes that bland looking die or stenciling to, so those are our letters. And then we'll do the same thing with our florals. And when you look at, they just kind of look like blobs, but when you die cut them, it adds all the detail in there. When I looked at it yesterday when I was making this, I was like, ooh, this is not very pretty stenciling, but here's where the magic happens. So I'm back over in my Platinum 6 over here to die cut these, and it'll add all the detail on our little flowers and make them so cute. And dainty. Oops. Uh-oh. Did I do that? I sure did. I must have had missed one of my registration holes. Oh, I sure did right there. It should have been cut here. These are going to be miscut, but that's okay. I can still ink them up. Hopefully. Let's see. How bad is it? Get them all out. Oh, it's not too bad. but the dies, I did not pay attention to that. You really do have to pay attention to where those registration marks are, because it definitely matters. Because you know, some of that color is going to be left automatically, but all of the color should be on the leaves if you've lined it up right, which I did not. But that, like that one is fine. But we'll use what we have. Yeah, the ones on the left side, all the way at the left, are okay, but it's anything that's impacted by that right one. And they're so little and they're so cute. So even not being perfectly lined up, they're still cute. I'm going to use them anyway. But if you want them to be perfect, make sure you pay attention to those registration marks. So those are our little flowers, and they look so much better with that detail on them than they did when you just looked at the flat when you just looked at the flat stenciling by itself. And I am, for the bigger ones, I'm going to fix those a little bit with some Crimson Cheer. And the rest of them, I'm going to do this one, and I'll do the bigger leaf, and the rest of them I'm not going to worry about. Okay, and then we'll do the leaves with my winter fir. So there's very little that you can't correct, but if you don't want to have to worry about correcting at all, just make sure that stencil's lined up, and you won't have an issue. Okay, maybe I can do this one too. I think we got them all fixed. Okay, that's okay. That worked out pretty good. I wasn't off too much, but I was off just enough. So I'm going to move these out of the way and then clean up this ink, and we will be ready to continue on with our project. Let me grab some water here. Move you guys out. Okay, so I did do a little bit of work ahead of time, like I always do. And so my background is really ready for us to go. I die cut the lattice, and then I added some 3 pieces of foil strip, and then I die cut using the Spellbinders Basics, the A2 matting basics. The top 2 frames just use some rose gold, not brush gold. What is this called? Rose gold foil, and then I used a little bit of a few strips of foam strip, so that when I put it on the card front, it won't be flat up against the card front. So we'll have that depth in there. And then I just kind of figure out where I want these to go. And you could, I mean, you could do it horizontally if you wanted, but I like the little scattered look. I think it's cute. So we'll stick with that same look and punch out the hole in my A. And just kind of, let's see, I'm going to run out of room if I don't scoot up a little bit. And try to put some out and some in. Just to make sure I got room for everything. And the spacing looks reasonable. Okay, and then we'll add the flowers where we want them. I'm going to put this one up here. Oops. And this one in the middle. And this little guy we'll put down there. And this one, I'll put you over here. And this little one right in there somewhere. And this one down here. And this one we'll put right there. And here and here. Okay, so that's how we're going to, and then we just glue it all down. That's all it is to this one. You can add an extra sentiment if you want to, but I don't really think you need it just because you've got your big thanks on the front. So you could add a sub sentiment down there if you wanted, but I don't really think you have to do that. Put that one there. I'm not using a lot of glue, just enough so that it adheres. Get these little pieces out of my way. This one, another easy one to do. I think it's pretty easy. Okay. I put all these flowers on. Now I just need to take them back off. With this lattice, you do have to kind of pay attention to where you are putting the letters, because they sometimes want to hide underneath. So try to stick them where they've got some room. Got nice little fall colors for a fall thank you here. Let's see. Bring that one in a little. Or do I want to go out? Maybe we'll go out a little. And then the K and the S. So this one, and you can, change your colors around, use them anytime. You could make it holiday by using more holiday colors if you wanted. That is crooked. There. And I'll bring this one in. Okay, I'll hold this up and make sure nothing is whopper jaw. Okay, that looks okay. And then we just add the florals, and we can put it on our background onto our card base, and easy peasy. Let's see, where's my big flower? There we go. And put this guy up here. And there we go. I might need a little more glue on the end of that. Let's see. Yeah. Let's do that. And then let's see. Who next? How about you? We'll put you down. They're so teeny, these little flowers. But they really make the card, I think. And let's see, we'll do you. This one is already turned over. Add it to the S. And put this guy kind of in the middle here. Oops. I think I got more glue on my finger than I do on this flower. There we go. And then this last little one, a little weeping flower. There we go. And then all we'll need to do now is add it to a card base. I've got an A2 card base here, and I just have to pull off all of the relief paper off of the back, which is always the worst for me. You know, let me try this, see if it can pick it up better. Yeah, that's a little better. I want you to pick up the whole thing though. Only the relief paper, please. Nope. There we go. How about this end? Are you more cooperative? Yeah. There we go. Now we we don't want you to stick it in there. There. This one has to come off. This one has to come off. Is that off? And this comes off. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm trying to really focus on these little strips. I think I've down to 2, maybe 3. And we'll be done. I think. Getting close. There we go. And this little piece here. And that should be the end of it. Okay, there we go. All right. So now all we need to do is add it to the front of our card base. Line it up. Well, trying to make sure I get it straight, because once that center grabs, it's hard to get it back up. And ask me how I know. There we go. Okay, so that is the project. Again, we were using the Bloom of Thanks dies and stencil from Pinkfresh Studio and the metallic inks from Lisa Horton Crafts. So I hope that you liked today's project. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. Oh, thank you for the feedback, Marisha. Appreciate that. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being here. And I hope that you have a fantastic week and that you have some time to craft a little kindness of your own. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.